Hi everyone, I'm Han Mac, your host on the Total Woman podcast. You're welcome for today's edition. Want to carry on from where we stopped the last time, which was talking about the development stage of the lady, a girl coming into being a lady. Age bracket 9 to 14, and that's what we've been talking about. We talked about last time, we talked about the hair, development of breasts, a period, and by hair I mean the armpits and the pubic hair. So, and guess what, I just realized that it's not peculiar to females, right? Because even the guys are experiencing things like armpits, hair in the armpits and pubic hair. But guess what, I'm talking about the woman, so I'll let somebody else talk about the guys. But guess what, we need to clean up regardless of at what stage we are in life or what gender we carry. We need to clean up. So going back to the development of breasts, I'd like to add on that today. So the reaction to breast and the wearing of brassiere. As I said, brassiere actually felt very old, so I'll stick to bra. But for the older folks, let's talk brassiere. But guess what, I'm going back to bra, acting my age. So for the sizing of bra and then the wearing of bra. So for the girl who has developed breast and is fully chested at the age of 8, 9, 10, and then for the girl who has gone into her teenage age years already, and that's from 13 and above and has not developed at all. You see, that doesn't help very much for confidence, because the one who's developed at 8, 9, it's suddenly feeling superior to the one who's developed. It starts developing at age 14. So you see, there's already a mix-up already. There's this crisis of, something must be wrong with me. No, what is going on here? I don't know. And I had this conversation with my mom, and I asked her, at what point did you start developing breasts? I said, she called it Form 5. I'm not sure how we talk about it now. Form 5 is what, again, in this time and age? I think SS3, right? I think so, because it used to be to primary 7, right? And then to Form 5. I don't know. Well, we need to check it out. But she called it Form 5, so I'm just going to use Form 5 for that. Said at Form 5, she said she didn't have much breast. It was just very tiny, and she was very comfortable. She was one of those ones where they were calling the late bloomers. She went to sleep that day and just woke up and discovered she had full chest, and she was wondering what just happened. And then she came to class. She was trying to hide it, and she came to class, and her teachers just said, "Wow, Nandil, what just happened? What's wrong? What did you?" And you see, the male staff were wondering whether she stuffed something in her chest so that she can belong, while the females were wondering, no, this is not possible. And then guess what? The African response is, who is touching you? She was in secondary school, in all girls secondary school for that matter. And then they're asking her, who is touching? Because there must be something that you must have done that is making you have this kind of big breast suddenly like that. What was her response? To start slouching so the breasts don't show. 2, to make sure that she has sweaters always on to make sure that nobody is noticing the breast. 3, she hated breasts. So in fact, it became part of her prayer points, which was she didn't want to be, God, if it, you know how Jesus prayed, if it might be possible, let this cup be taken away from me. Her prayer was, if it might be possible, let this breast just disappear the same way they came by surprise. Let them disappear by surprise, and she'll be grateful for this kind of surprise. Unfortunately, it had come to stay. So there's really not much she could do about it. So she had to just take it in, but then she hated it. So she was experiencing things like binding. And I realized a lot of girls, when they start developing, they bind a lot. And it's painful because it's something that is just coming up. So when you're binding yourself up in, it's actually quite painful. So you have people experiencing that. And then what of the bra size? Sometimes the discomfort you experience on your breast is because you have the wrong bra size. Bra itself, and you don't know your size. So how many people really know their size? Very few. As a young girl at that age, you're already embarrassed of having breast. That's enough embarrassment for a lifetime. Then you have to go and start discussing size. Anything they give you in shop, you collect. And go and suffer privately. Because it's embarrassing to you. Or anything your mother brings. Guess what? Even saying, okay, remove your clothes, let me see itself, is too embarrassing. You have to be very close to that. No, it's okay, this is the correct size, and collect it and just run. Anything to avoid embarrassment. So the question is, then what do you do? What do you do? Are there not better ways of actually easing a girl into womanhood? maybe a more polite way. Maybe they should have a club. Well, that's just me thinking in passing. But then, better ways, better approaches to easing a girl into womanhood, talking to her about it, especially teachers at junior secondary schools, which are mostly the time where all that happens, except for the late bloomers, which extends to senior secondary schools. But then at that level, there should be basic education for teachers and approaches of this, so they don't make the girl feel embarrassed, basically, not feel. So you see, she's already suffering from, whoever that girl is already suffering from gender crisis of being a female, because guess what, the counterparts, the boys, actually get to go away scot-free, but she doesn't get to experience that because she has to manage all these issues of the breast, and then in between that she's ashamed of it. He's beginning to notice she has breasts, and guess what, we have those very clueless boys who will come and ask you, really, what is this on your chest? And you don't know how to explain to him that you're still wrapping your head around it. And the way Yales is looking at me, I'm actually thinking maybe he's one of those people that pass those kind of statements to girls growing up. That's by the way. Oh, just in case you're wondering, Yales is my partner here in the studio. But in passing, how then do you ease a woman into womanhood? By woman, I mean the girl child, actually, because you're a prospective woman. How then do you ease her into it? I think sensitization of the teachers teaching in this kind of classes, so they help the child come into herself without stereotyping her, without labeling her, without making her feel so terrible as if she's done something wrong when she just saw it. Maybe a different approach would actually help and go a long way. I'm just saying my opinions though. I'll be back shortly after this short break. Thanks. Have you ever wondered what it really means to be a woman? Are you interested in gaining a fresh perspective and a deeper understanding of womanhood? Look no further than the Total Woman podcast. Join us as we explore the complexities, the beauty of being a woman, while also introducing the male perspective to our experiences. No gender advocacy, just a balanced approach that acknowledges and celebrates the unique differences between men and women. We will delve into the why behind our thoughts, emotions, experiences, while striving for a better understanding and relationship between genders. My personal experiences as an African woman will add a unique flavor to our discussions, bringing new insights to the table while leaving you enlightened and empowered. Join us as we introduce the world to the woman. Tune in to the Total Woman podcast today. Welcome back, everybody. Still talking about reactions to growth spurts in the girl child from ages 9 to 14. Things that come up at that level. We just finished talking. I think we've talked exhaustively about the breast and the bra and the shocks that come with it and all that. But it wouldn't hurt. There are plenty of stories there. You could actually reach out to us on our social media platforms telling us your stories and how it came up. Yes, and how your first reaction to your first bra, your first reaction to when you started developing breasts. It wouldn't hurt. Guess what? The stories might actually inform our talks, and guess what? You'll actually be helping somebody out there. That's beautiful. We'll be waiting to hear from you. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms at the Total Woman Podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. Looking forward to hear feedbacks from you. Now let's look at something much more different, which is reacting to the monthly periods, realizing that it's not all have started at that time. Some have started, some will start later. And when it starts, it's actually not as consistent as you would want it to be. Some started the first month and then never experienced anything till about the 6th month. Then some started and it was just straight, consistent all through. So we don't know, but then to the hygiene that surrounds the days of your period, which is mostly advised that the girl takes her bath at least twice daily and she changes her tampons or pads, as you refer to it, at least twice or three times, because I've realized that there are a lot of actually reactions, allergic reactions that come with that. Some people react to blood on their body. So you find people that are very sensitive, parts that have netting on them actually can irritate the skin. Some prefer complete cotton pads without any netting on them, while some tolerate it and they're fine with it. Find what works, and it wouldn't hurt to actually try to talk with your daughter, talk with your sibling, talk with your friend to find out what exactly works for her, and try to make it polite, so the discomfort or the embarrassment of experiencing all that at that time does not overshadow the conversation. Get her relaxed, get talking. Wouldn't hurt to talk over ice cream or talk over tea. Guess what? A child at that level doesn't even understand the mood swings that come with it. You become cranky. There is the cramps, the pain. Some is just abdominal pain. Some, literally, I learned that some people are admitted in the hospital because of that. But then when you go to the village, you say, who is not doing period? That's you. They have to go and admit you for all the sports child. And you see different approaches for different situations, but they're actually valid. Mood swings, cramping, severe back aches, vomiting. I remember one of the times that an uncle of mine came home and it was during my period, and before my period I would have 3 days straight migraine headache that no medication would abate it. The day is stopping on the third day my period starts. And that was when I was much younger. It's not really now the same now. But that was how it was. So in those 3 days, I will vomit. I will be cranky. I will not be able to do anything. I'm basically a polite vegetable. So he came to the house that day and told my dad, he said, you'll be sitting there and be saying, do you like this girl? You have a good relationship with her. Do you know she's pregnant? And my dad said, what informed the decision? How is her vomiting and pregnancy? He said she's vomiting and it's in the morning. You just know that person has watched plenty Nigerian films, because the test of pregnancy is your ability to vomit in the morning. So I was like, I didn't know that there was a case going on in the parlor while I was retching my heart out at the back of the house and trying to get myself together. And my dad said it was not possible, and went out and started telling the people around that I had hoodwinked my dad. My dad believes so much in me, he doesn't understand. But neither did my father feel the need to explain to him that she's on her period, because we didn't believe as a family that it was supposed to be public knowledge. So we felt it was okay for him to believe what he wanted to believe. But I think that brought dissension between them at some point, that it's like they just don't agree when it comes to his daughter concerning anything. That's my dad and his relation. But then guess what? My point is, it wouldn't hurt to actually get well read about all of these things. The fathers are not in the know of what is going on. Half of the time, the moment they mention your daughter is on her period, the father prefers to use the next door to just get out of that place, because he doesn't even want to know. The brothers are running away. Nobody wants to know. It's a girl thing. Let them figure it out. Guess what? There are a few things that I can actually do. She's moody. She's experiencing mood swings. You can actually just sit and talk with her. Get her a cup of tea. Don't push her around too much. It's time for TLC now. Pamper her a little bit. Are you hearing me? Pamper her. Those are the kind of things you can actually do to abate those things, and it wouldn't hurt. I heard that there's a myth that when you take analgesic during period cramps, that you would likely not have children in the future. I genuinely, I would love to publicly debunk that theory. Pain is pain. It doesn't really matter what source of the pain. Pain is pain. And medicine was created to help abate those kind of issues. Do we really have to suffer? The whole idea of coming into this kind of things was into medicine, evolving, understanding, was to make sure that all of this is coming out fine, to help our health issues. And guess what? This cramps is actually a health issue that should be tackled. So the girl who doesn't know how to explain how she's used to washing plates at the age of 11, she washes plates, she runs errands, and suddenly for 3 days, she has not been herself and doesn't know how to explain it, and is feeling shy to explain to Uncle Peter that she cannot go on this errand because her back hurts, is assumed lazy, is assumed disobedient, is assumed stubborn. In the meantime, maybe if you could be a little bit sensitive, you would actually realize that it's possible that something is going on here, and the fact that she's not able to tell you, should tell you that it's deeper than you, and you could just let her off the hook for that. Just this once, just let her off the hook for that. Well, the world would be a nicer place if we all get in touch with our sensitive side, especially the men. Get in touch with your feminine side. I believe the feminine side of every man is actually very, very viable, and it works. You'd actually enjoy the woman more. You enjoy the whole feminine race better, and it will go a long way. What do you think? Like I said, we're still waiting for feedback. How did you react to your first period? Was it consistent, or did it skip and at some point became consistent? And then did yours come with a lot of pain? I learned that some people are literally admitted in the hospital just because their period was coming. And I learned a lady went into coma 3 days. She was unconscious because of period. That's all. Period, or like our elders will call it, menses. So just in case the older generation, you've been wondering what I've been talking period, it's actually menses. Just I have a problem saying menses. So we'll stick to period. But that's what it means actually, period and menses. It's actually the same thing we're talking about. Or menstrual cycle for the educated who want it to be explicitly, categorically stated. Yeah. So you see, some people experience it twice in a month. Some people experience it once in a month. We have people who experience period time duration for 28 days, 23 days. Some experience 18 days. It's those that are shorter, like 14 days and all that. In between that. And guess what? There's another pain apart from the cramps, the period cramps that comes at the beginning of your menstrual cycle, but there's the other part where you ovulate, and some people are actually in severe pain during ovulation. And how do you know that? When you count from the day you start your period to 14 days, you're expected to have started ovulating. So the window of 13, day 12, day 13, day 14, day 15 and 16 can actually be open to ovulation. So sometimes people experience intense pain, that tummy aches, it's like backache, it's intense. I didn't even realize it was possible. But I think I experienced it once or twice, and I rushed to the hospital and I was told that it's just ovulation. And I was wondering, all my life I've not been ovulating. Suddenly I started ovulating. But guess what? Your body wants what it wants and does what it wants. You move with it. You don't get to order that too much. You just live with that. So my point being that it will be good if we're a little bit more read about this gender, this wonderful gender, this feminine gender. Yes, that if we're a little bit more read, more open to conversations. And these conversations, we're talking about this, and to another person who would rather not hear all of this. And I think these conversations have gone under the table for a very long time, and it's not very impactful to the women folk. It's not helpful to the man folk, because some of the details that you don't know do inform your decisions around the woman, because you do not have a clear understanding, and because it's a little bit sensitive and could be embarrassing. Your wife finds a problem communicating it. Your daughter finds a problem communicating it. Your sister finds a problem communicating. And guess what? That lady in church that you were talking to and suddenly just became cranky and just blasted you and walked away. Yeah, she could actually be experiencing that too. So it's not really like she wanted to reject your heels. It's just because she was going through something that was bigger than you at that time. Well, these conversations, we're bringing them to the table basically to help us to be able to navigate through the female gender. And, there's this joke about the fact they said How to Understand Women, Part 1, Volume 1, and it was this humongous book that was so big. Guess what? We're breaking it down for dummies now. We're doing a breakdown for help you understand that some of these things that we experience is not necessarily because we want to cuss you out. And imagine a child at the age 9 to 14 going through that and completely not knowing what she's supposed to do and how to handle all of those bursts of emotions due to hormones. Let's show some love, extend some love, and a little sensitivity here and there wouldn't hurt. So we'll be talking about the next thing, but I'd like to go for a short tea break, and I'll be back shortly. Bye. Welcome back. So I'd like to address one more thing before we close for today, and that's acne. For my Nigerian folks, pimples. Yeah, that sounded very weird. So about this, that it's not everybody that experiences this, right? But then it's when you read books and everything, and they talk to you about introduction to puberty and everything, how a girl transitions into preteen to teenage age and all that. One of the signs and symptoms of that is acne. And then we have people like me who waited most of their life waiting to have acne, looking forward to acne so that we can bust something. The thing became a thing of competition where we'll sit in class with my GS2, we'll sit in class and I see people say, come and help me do this. Hi, these pimples plenty in my face. Come and help me do this one. Come and help me do this one. And then you start, and then you find yourself pinching your face. Did you do that? Find yourself pinching your face on the face, just hoping that at some point you can act it out that you're also having pimple, and then you see them rushing to come and check. Hey, you have it, as if it's a thing of joy. Guess what? I didn't have it. I didn't have the luxury of having it. I'm not sure it's even a luxury, because when I look back now, I realized I was intensely blessed not to have it. But then I also know that there are people that had it so much, had it so bad, that you see ladies going on at teenage age, they're already using things like Skiniel, Format A, etc. to just curb it on their faces, just to match. And then suddenly we have these ladies going with Fanta face. They become so bright, they become yellow on the face alone, simply because they're trying to curb that. As opposed to being well read to understand what are the causes of this. And then sometimes some people, it just comes, it's periodic. Guess what? We talked earlier about the period, right? The menstrual cycle. Some people, it's an introduction to a menstrual cycle that automatically after your period, it goes away by itself. It just fades away by itself, and it could be resolved. So sometimes we even treat things that could actually naturally go, which is a cycle. So you can as well just accept yourself for who you are, and that is it. And I'm not saying that because I never really had it, because when I was not having it, I actually looked forward to having it. But then I'm saying that those are things that have become, it's like you can't accept yourself because you have acne, you have breakage in your face, and you don't want to experience that. So we go on and do so many things, which drums down the line the fact that drums over emphasizes the position of the fact that you don't really accept yourself for who you are. Yeah, so this has happened. I'm not defined by what's on my face. And then the children who don't have it before 14 and the children who are experiencing it already at the age of 14, it now becomes a clash of interest, because this one is feeling as if I'm more matured than you are because I have pimples, and the other person is saying, no, you're less mature, you don't know what I'm going through. So you see, now it becomes a thing of show off. First you're uncomfortable, then it becomes a thing of show off and competition. Then the girl who is a late bloomer, who never even experienced it, like some people like us, what do you expect to go on? That she's feeling unappreciated. There's something wrong with me. There must be something that I'm not doing right. So they told us that granite, when you take a lot of granite, it multiplies it. And then some of us had ourselves eating granite from morning till night because we wanted it to come out. Then you hear something, different myths about how you can handle it. But then I realized that it's oil on your face, and then very oily skin that brings about that. And especially some people are particularly oily on their face, and simply washing the face with water and making sure that you break it down, that oil does not mean you break it down, can actually help elevate a lot of things around it. And just making sure that your face is always dry at some during that season, if that yours is related to that of the period alone. But if yours is constant, then find something that works, that does not necessarily alter you to and don't be too obsessed with having a smooth skin. Guess what? Not everybody's meant to have a smooth. Even people have smooth skin who have the acne now. These products will not be in the market. But find something that works for you, actually, rather than changing and altering your personality. And then suddenly you hear people telling you that, no, since as a child, my face has always been yellow and my hands are black. No, sweetheart, it has never been like that. You use too many things, so you've had to maintain it like that. And you've come accustomed to the new person that you have become. Not necessarily that is you. It is you accepting this new version of yours because you prefer it to the older version that has pimples. So it's your inability to accept yourself that is working. So I think what stems about all these conversations, while we started from the young age to where progressing as we go on, is the identity crisis of the woman. The woman is suffering a lot of identity crisis, especially the woman in Africa. Is suffering a lot of identity crisis. And we're saying that we've been traumatized as women. We've been traumatized as children. We're traumatized as teenagers. We're traumatized as young ladies. And guess what? You get married as a traumatized lady. What do you transfer after you have children? The same trauma you went through, somehow, because you've not been able to heal from it. You've not been able to grow out of it. You inflict the same trauma upon your children. And at some point, these circles need to be broken, because if they're not broken, we don't even know what to do will happen. So we're saying that we're being proactive. I am being proactive and speaking out about it. And I'm saying it's worth a shot anyway, doing my own little bringing in my own little contribution, contribute to my own quarter to see that things begin to turn around and these conversation things. So you don't get to tell your daughter, what is on your face? Like, go and wash your face. And then people have suddenly reduced acne to, this girl must be very unkept. She's dirty. See as her face is something. No, it's not a product. It's her body generating oil. It's not really something she can control. So when we take it out on each other like that, then you're too conscious of how you look. You get too conscious of how you're supposed to sound. It's too many conscious things around you that at the end of the day you lose yourself. You forget who you are. You forget that there's more to you than what is on your face. That there's more to you than what is going on your face. And so if anybody who is looking at you and can only see your face, then it's his loss. It's her loss. So mothers, help our children. Get learned on these issues so that you can be able to transfer this knowledge properly and usher them into womanhood properly. That these issues are, and guess what? The whole issue of this acne is not even peculiar to the woman folk alone. Guys are suffering these things. But you don't see them actually cussing each other out. You don't see them struggling. And guess what? Some of them literally never use any products. So they're sweating with the oil and everything. Yeah, that's unhygienic. But then it's something that help our young ones, help our teenagers. That's now including the men. The who is best to help? The mother who understands these things better. The mother, because guess what? She might have gone through it at some point in time in her life and have discovered how to make work. And she has experience that she can impart upon her son. She can impart upon her daughter. And it could be a journey that you explore together to be able to see what works so that you can help them manage all of this together. Don't you think that would be wonderful? And it's a good bonding time for mother and daughter, mother and son, father and son. He can actually be part of the conversation. Wouldn't it be wonderful? That's beautiful anyway. Well. I think that's all for today. And I would say thank you for listening. And we really are looking forward to hearing your feedback on all these things we've talked about, the reaction to breast and the bra size, etc. And we've also mentioned the periods, how you started, and did it break at some point and or come back, or you went on full blown. How are you dealing with cramps? How are some natural remedies to be able to deal with these issues? And then we have acne, natural remedies, because if you go online you can actually see a lot of natural remedies. Well, I want to hear feedback on things that actually worked, and maybe we could share with some online viewers, and to be able to know that some things could actually work, and if they're tested, tried and trusted, not what you were told in the village and you've not tried it on, you could actually get back. And we'll be waiting to hear feedback from you. Don't forget to share, don't forget to like, don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms at the Total Woman Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, it's your girl Handmac signing out. Bye.